Hi, I'm Jeremy Wallace with Wallace Christian Ministries. You could be watching this on our website at wallace-ministries.org, or maybe you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. Either way, I want to encourage you to visit our website at wallace-ministries.org if you're not already there. I want to briefly talk to you about something important, a book that I've read, or that I am currently reading, and it's changing my walk with God. And it's called Wild Goose Chase. It's by Mark Batterson, and it's titled down here at the bottom, Reclaim the Adventure of Pursuing God. Now, I want to briefly talk to you about this book and what it has and the concept behind it, and I want to encourage you to buy it and read it for yourself. Okay, so the ancient Celtics called the Holy Spirit the wild goose. Now, what better way to explain how often we feel when we're chasing God's will? It's kind of like a wild goose chase. Now, even though wild goose chases are often, they prove pointless, this is different with God because He has a plan ultimately at the end. Now, we all experience frustration when trying to find the will of God. As humans, we mathematically want to calculate, we want to find the answer, we want to know the answer, we want to know it definitely, we want to know where we're going, we want to have plans and have it all planned out. But with God's will, it's a whole different thing. We can't wrap our minds around it because it's God. And this is the walk of a Christian. The will of God's going to seem confusing. It's going to seem difficult. And so, I like what Mark Batterson puts. He says, we think something is wrong with us when we experience circumstantial uncertainty. And again, I like what Mark Batterson, he hits it right on the head when he says this. I'm going to quote him. Circumstantial uncertainty also goes by a different name. Adventure. Now, how true is that? Yes, we don't know when we follow the will of God where we're going sometimes. Sometimes all of a sudden the direction changes dramatically, and it's just this giant mystery. But that makes it adventurous. That makes it, mysterious. That is the will of God. Now, I'm not going to repeat everything that Batterson says in this book, because I want you to get the book and I want you to read for yourself. But he does give us a strong warning that I want to relay to you. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, nothing is more unnerving or disorienting than passionately pursuing God. And the sooner we come to terms with that spiritual reality, the more we will enjoy the journey. I cannot, in good conscience, promise safety or certainty, but I can promise that chasing the wild goose will be anything but boring. Now, if you can't say that your walk with God is adventurous, then you may have fallen into this belief that you're following the Spirit, but you've actually instead settled for something that Batterson calls inverted Christianity. Now, instead of following the Spirit and serving God's purposes, we've invited the Spirit to follow us and to serve our purposes. Now, it seems like a subtle distinction, but it makes an entire, completely world of difference. And the difference being between spiritual boredom and spiritual adventure. Now, the church is a great thing. I love the church, and I help out with the church. And part of my ministry is to help the church grow. I want to plant churches. I love the church. But often we trap ourselves inside the church. The church becomes a cage for us. And deep inside, all of us, we start longing for more. In the book Wild Goose Chase, Batterson says that, sure, the tame part of us grows accustomed to the safety of the cage, but the untamed part longs for some danger, some challenge, some adventure. And at some point in our spiritual journey, the safety and predictability of the cage no longer satisfies. So the question we have to all ask, and the question that you have to ask yourselves is, are you dangerous? Are you dangerous to the enemy? Does he find you a threat? Or are you so caged, are you so spiritually safe that the enemy doesn't even know your name? He doesn't even care, because anything you do won't matter to him. It will never make a difference. Are you dangerous? Are you dangerous to the enemy? And if you're not, let's change that. Let's live dangerously. See, in chapter 1 of the book, Batterson asked the question, which is also the title of chapter 1, do angels yawn? Are we living in a cage? Are we living such tamed lives that not only are we bored, but so are our guardian angels? And if we could ask them, would they beg us to throw open the door and to our cage and do something worth protecting us for? Do something dangerous, something outrageous, so that they have a reason to protect us. There are several cages that we lock ourselves into that hold us back from an adventure of chasing the wild goose. And I want to encourage you to buy the book and read about how to get out of these cages and what these cages are. And once you identify them, you can get out of them. I could easily go over them, and I will start going over these cages, but I want you seriously to go buy this book, Wild Goose Chase by Mark Batterson. Go to Amazon.com and order the paperback version, or download the Kindle version that you can read on your computer or your phone or your Kindle if you have one. I don't make money off the book. My goal isn't to sell you it. No one told me to. I'm not friends with Mark Batterson or anything like that. I'm trying to peddle his stuff. No, I want you to read. I want you to buy and read this book because it will change your walk with God. It will give you the adventure that your soul and your heart longs for, because you'll be able to identify the cages that are in your life, throw the doors wide open, and live dangerously. God has an adventurous life plan for you, all of us, and He wants to enable you to be a weapon that crushes the enemy. Don't settle for spiritual boredom. Don't settle for these things. There is an adventure waiting for all of us out there. God has it planned. It's a wild goose chase, and you just gotta throw open the cage doors and chase the darn goose.